soon. Sometimes it just takes a couple extra steps to get in for us.
Yeah, she's here.
Okay.
Yes. Are you able to hear me? Sorry.
Yep, we can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Well, I will go ahead and share my screen with our presentation.
Annika, they have the insert
If I
meeting,
could just
so they're gonna
interject here, a point of order. If the folks from the, auditor's office could just sort of stand by and let the president of the board kick this thing off, and we'll get to you guys when you're on the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, it'll just take me a couple minutes here. So, yep. Okay, everybody ready? We're on recorded, Chief?
We are all set. Doing
right.
all the things.
Great. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the March 17th, 2025 regular meeting of the Whatcom County Fire Protection District 4 Board of Commissioners. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll start with roll call. My name is Steve Cooley. I'm a commissioner.
Tim Johnson, Commissioner.
Mark Land, Commissioner.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
Okay, and Jessica, you're also here, right?
Jessica, yep.
Jessica, and she is the finance specialist for North Whatcom.
Finance specialist.
Yes. And then it looks like somebody want to go ahead and just introduce the guests, and then I have one more comment to make, and then we can proceed with you all.
I can introduce us real quick if that's what you're going for. Yeah, my name's Scott Hilton, and I'm one of the assistant audit managers on the state auditor's office team out of Bellingham. And with me is Annika Grande, and she is Grandy. I'm sorry, and she was leading the audit. So we'll jump back in when it's our turn.
Great. Well, it probably won't be long because we're moving now to the public comment period. Chief, do we have anybody that would like to make comments in public?
No, sir.
Okay, so I will open and then close the public comment period. And that brings us to the next item on our agenda, which is the auditor. So Scott, take it away.
All right, and thank you. I appreciate you just making this a priority for you all, and we do really just appreciate when the commissioners are all involved in the audit process and just show that additional interest in what happened. And I know just with the relationship of District 21 and the staff there and your commission, things have changed a little bit since our last audit, and so we just again appreciate that. And so as we were kind of sorting out as we got on to the meeting today, Dina Garza is the audit manager, and she was trying to get in, but I think she didn't want to hold anybody up by continuing to try to get in. And she's down in Olympia today anyways for manager meetings this week. And so I will pass along her apologies for not being able to join, but she just does like to share that everything that goes on for the audit is very important to us and everything. So this is the exit conference. It's the cumulative communication of what happened during the audit for this year. It was a 2-year audit for part of the audit and a 1-year audit for another part of the audit. And Annika had passed along some communication that is just the written form of a lot of what we'll discuss today. And we have the PowerPoint that kind of just supplements it and makes it a little easier to follow along with than just the written form that if you've been around with the fire district for a while, you've probably seen the packets before several times for quite a few years. And so that information, if there's any questions about it, just let us know if you've had a chance to look at it at all yet, or if after the meeting, you will have our contact information as well to give us any questions. What is included in that packet is also draft copies of the audit reports. And so since they're in draft form, they're not published on our website yet. And so we do like to present that information to you all before they go out to the public. So that's kind of how we like to keep our line of communication open for the audit. And really just the overall, if I talk about it today, I just wanted to convey that as a really positive audit. And so you'll see that in the results and everything and as we get into it. So just a little bit more for me on the next slide is about the office, and I don't know how familiar everybody is, but we just do have a few main goals of what we communicate through our audit process. And first is just an increased trust in government, since we're independent of the fire district, and sometimes the public needs a third party opinion on things. And so what we can do, especially communicating these positive results, is increase trust in government and in the fire district, and help to tell your story to those members of your residents in the area. And then also within that, since it is independent, we also do our best to be completely transparent about what we do with our work. We like to say there's no secrets in auditing, at least in our auditing. And so we try to communicate really heavily throughout the process with the contacts, the chief and Jessica especially, and then through communication with the commissioners through especially our written information that we have. And then also, if there's ever any questions about the work we do, we are happy to explain more as well, but we'll try to summarize it today. And then finally, just what we do hope through our audit process is to help improve the efficiency and effectiveness of government. And so there are a lot of opinions about government and what you all do and what you might do or might not do. And so we do try to help give any recommendations where we can that can help with compliance or efficiency or effectiveness, like it says there. And we're able to even communicate stuff throughout the audit. Sometimes our goal isn't to make things harder for everybody. It's to help streamline if we can. So with that, that's the bulk of what I had to open the presentation, and I won't hold up Annika anymore from communicating the results. So I'll pass it over to Annika.
Thank you, Scott. So I will start by going over the results of our accountability audit. We performed an accountability audit for the district for the 2-year period between January of 2022 and December of 2023. The purpose of our accountability audits, we take a look at the district compliance with selected areas, so whether that's state regulations or state laws, the district's own policies, grants, contracts, things like that. And we take a look at the district's compliance with those relevant areas, as well as overall the district's processes for safeguarding public resources and the use of public funds. And so we always like to start with just the overall results of the audit. Don't want to keep you waiting. For the accountability audit, we found that in all selected areas, district operations complied with the relevant and applicable laws, regulations, policies, and that the district operations provided adequate controls over the safeguarding of public resources. And these results are summarized in the draft accountability audit packet, or on page 4 of the packet that we've provided. In terms of the specific areas that we looked at this audit cycle, we looked at the district's compliance with interlocal agreement terms. And so we know that the district contracts with District 21 for a lot of services. And we knew through our different planning procedures that there had been a couple recent amendments. And so we thought that this audit cycle was a good opportunity to look at the district's compliance with those terms. And then we also look at, as part of all of our accountability audits, the open public meeting, or the district's compliance with open public meeting requirements, as well as financial conditions. So an overall review of where the district's at financially, and if there are any concerns or indicators of financial distress. And so again, as mentioned on the prior slide, we found that in all of these areas, the district was in compliance and had controls over the safeguarding of public resources. So pretty straightforward results there, but I can pause here for a minute. Does anybody have any specific questions about the accountability audit?
No, not that I can think of. Thank you.
All right, I can move on then to the results of the financial statement audit. So this audit has a slightly different period. We looked at the 1-year period of January 2023 through December of 2023. And the purpose of our financial statement audits is that we take a look at the district's financial statements and are able to then provide an opinion on whether the statements are presented fairly and materially accurate so that any end users can make decisions off of the financial statements. And so the opinion, we will be issuing an unmodified opinion in accordance with the BAR's manual, and that is the most ideal opinion that the district can receive. So that's wonderful news. We also, as part of our financial statement audit, look at the district's internal controls over financial statement preparation. And we are reporting no significant deficiencies in internal controls. We did not identify any deficiencies that we considered to be material weaknesses. And we did not note any instances of non-compliance that were material to the district's financial statements. So an overall very clean financial statement audit.
Can you explain on the previous slide there,
Yeah.
what is the adverse opinion thing there on, what does that mean?
Yes. Yeah, so that since the district reports on a cash basis, that adverse opinion on US GAAP is a required disclosure that we have that just notes that the district does not report on the US GAAP basis, but rather the cash basis. Scott, do you have any more details?
Yeah, the Washington State allows for reporting on a cash basis, and so when that is the case, audit standards require that we do report the adverse opinion for US GAAP, but it's strictly for required reporting.
Okay, so it doesn't mean
so
there's
no concerns with it. It's fully allowed and normal. It just, I think I want to say it was 2016 or 2017, the audit standards started requiring that if there's other allowed reporting that governments do that isn't GAAP, that we have to put in an adverse opinion for the GAAP there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
And then there are a couple other required communications that we have for the financial statement audit. As part of our audit, we're required to let you all know as the board if we identified any misstatements, material or immaterial. And so we're again happy to report that we didn't identify any material misstatements, as well as no uncorrected immaterial misstatements. And another area that we look at as part of our financial statement audit is the risk of management override of controls. This is an area that we look at for every financial statement audit that we do. Again, it's just a risk with creation of financial statements in general. So we look at that as part of our financial statement testing. We get an understanding of the district's controls over preparing the financial statements. And if there's any concerns that management could override any of those controls and report inaccurate information on the financial statements. And so again, we looked at this as part of our audit and had no concerns. So just want to communicate that to you all. I believe then that those are really the main communications in terms of the financial statement audit. Are there any other questions about the financial statement audit specifically?
Not for me, thank you.
All right, then I would like to take a minute here, now that we've gone over the results of the audit, to thank both Jessica and Chief Vanderveen for all of their work on the audit. I just appreciate overall the great communications that we've had with you both. Very clear and direct communications, and staying just in such close contact over the course of the audit has really just helped things go very smoothly. And just wanted to especially commend Jessica on her first audit with our office. And so just to have, as we've gone through and as you've seen very clean results for the audit as a whole, just really want to commend Jessica on great results on her first audit. But with that, I will pass it off to Scott to talk a little bit more about report publication and some other logistical items.
Yeah, just some things I want to make sure to communicate so you're aware of as we wrap this up, that the audit reports, as I mentioned, were our draft copies, and then will be published on our website probably later this week. They usually go out on Thursdays or Mondays, and so if you're signed up for the subscription service. You see the link here on the screen. I believe there might be a link for it in the packet that was passed along, but you can sign up on our website to get notified if your district has an audit report, which you're all here, you know it's coming out. But also you can customize that, and you can actually select individual other fire districts or the local governments in your area, like cities, towns, whatever, to get notification of those audit reports as well. So it is just a nice way to stay connected and informed on what's happening related to audits in the state. But more importantly to us anyways, there's an audit survey that goes out at the end of the audit, and this will go out twice for the 2 different audits, but to Jessica as our audit contact, it is also able to be forwarded to other people so multiple people can respond to it. But we do really appreciate the feedback, and we do want to for this one to focus the feedback on what we have done for Fire District 4. And we do take that seriously. We try to implement stuff for you specifically, and then broadly on our whole team as well, if there's anything that we can change or improve as we go to. So would appreciate any feedback for that. And then on the next slide is just some more closing remarks, and just the good news that I know everybody likes to hear is that our audit costs are going to come in alignment under the original estimate that we passed along prior to the audit. And so that's always nice to hear. And then the upcoming audit is going to be is tentatively scheduled to happen sometime in the fall of 2026. It will actually go back to a 2-year financial statement audit and a 2-year accountability audit at that point. And so the estimates are adjusted accordingly. When you do a 2-year, it does help to limit some of the costs. It's not entirely, but it'll limit some of the costs when you do 2-year. And just the size, when you get any cycle that's more than 1 year, it's due to the size, but also the perceived lack of risk that the fire district has as well. So if we perceive more risk, we'll often audit more frequently. So that's good news that we can go back to that as well. And with that, there's one other thing I did want to pass along, and I know there's the district isn't like heavy on cyber systems, software systems and everything, but we do really we're really trying to encourage people to do this free cyber checkup that we offer. It's where someone from our office, it's pretty minimally invasive, but can just take a look at your cybersecurity, where it is for your systems as it is now, and give some just practical recommendations. And that, as I mentioned, it is free of any additional charges. I mean, it's included in all of our audit charges anyways, as a service that we provide. So we encourage that. The phone number is here on the screen. The website as well does that, and we've just heard really good results. So I think it may say on here somewhere. If it doesn't, it's award winning. It received some national award for just the effectiveness and of the checkup. So that's all the information I had to share today. And with that, I'll ask if there's any questions or comments or anything that you'd like to share with us before we jump off the call.
No questions, but I want to thank Scott and Annika and the rest of your team for helping us. I would echo everything that you said about the intent of your office, and we are fully committed to being fully transparent to the public, and you're the most important part of making sure that we are. So thank you for spending all that time with us and helping us go through the audit. And while you're here, I'd also like, and I'd also like to echo what you said. Thank you to Chief Vanderveen and to Jessica, and to your commitment to making sure that we're transparent and in compliance with all of the laws we need to comply with. So thank you all very much. Really happy to see all the good results of this. Thank you.
I want to echo both Commissioner Cooley and Annika's comments about Jessica. Just get it on the record that, well, audits are never, I don't want to say they're not fun, but they're not everybody's favorite thing to do. but especially with getting audited on somebody else's work increases I would say the difficulty or maybe the frustration of doing it. And Jessica handled it with class and didn't complain too much. When she did, it was completely appropriate. So my hat's off to her. It was the next one will be all yours, but Jessica, you did a great job handling this and, working through somebody else's filing system and all those things. So, and then Scott, for you, I wanted to really, Monica for her professionalism. She was great to work with. She came up with really great work plans every week, and she was cognizant of timelines that we have internally, commissioner meetings and things like that. So she was very gracious with allowing us extra time or gentle reminders. And yeah, she's just clear, effective communication. And I'll pass it on to Dina as well, but you should definitely do whatever it takes to hang on to Monica. So.
Anybody else
you.
have questions or comments before we let the audit folks go?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica. Yeah,
Thank you.
Great day. Okay. We will now move on to approval of our consent agenda. All matters within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review, are considered routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the board with no separate discussion. If a separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. And our consent agenda this week includes our meeting minutes from February 10th. I don't need to pull this out for separate discussion, but I do want to note that I think we need to correct one little typo. I don't know if Jenny's on. I don't know if she's listening, but Chief, bottom of the second page, where the sentence that says, unless it proves to be a huge advantage, the district is amenable to continue to contract for services with District 21. I think she means disadvantage there. So barring any disadvantage, we are amenable to, or perhaps you could reword that. It just didn't make sense to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I'll chat with Jenny about it. And
yeah, so, okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I saw in the meeting minutes. Staff reports, which again, I don't need to pull out a specific discussion item, but I had a question. Oh, Chief, do we own any of those road rescue ambulances? Or is that
Fire District 4 does not, no.
Okay.
They're all owned by Fire District 21.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the concerns you noted in there about those. So, okay, just wanted to double check that. So we have staff reports, financial reports, voucher, payroll, and benefits. And this week, our direct deposit payroll was $483. Our monthly expenditure voucher is $21,545.97 for a total of $22,028.97. And looks like Jessica also put a total revenues for February was $28,302.13. So with all of that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda with the one correction to the typo minutes that Steve mentioned.
Thank you, Commissioner Land. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion about the consent agenda before we vote? Seeing none, then I call for a vote on approving. Let's see, hang on a second. Yeah. On the matter of approving the consent agenda, I'm getting tongue-tied for some reason, but what we're going to do now is vote on the consent agenda. So all those in favor of approving it as is with that correction, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. After all that struggle, we got through with the 3-0 vote, so the consent agenda is approved. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Chief has asked that we put the tender purchase and the fire engine purchase off another month because things have continued to be very busy. I have no issue with this. Any problems with that? Commissioner?
Darby and I have just not been able to align our schedules
Yeah.
either. So it's
Okay.
not,
Yeah.
not all about me, but it's mostly about me.
Yeah, sorry, did I make that impression? I didn't. Yeah, it's
No,
just,
that's right. I just wanted to.
yeah, clarify. I will make one note real quick, just maybe to remind you and Commissioner Land, if you want to talk. Mark, you had some thoughts over our last couple of meetings and the special meeting we had with District 21 about how we could help out. From talking with the chief, it sounds to me like purchasing this tender might be a really good way to help District 21 while helping ourselves. So we did have a discussion about that. And from what I've heard, I think it'd be a good idea if we move forward with it, but we'll talk more.
Yeah,
So,
great.
good. Okay. So with that, that leaves two more items on the agenda. Let's talk about the annex, since that's the first one. The Britton Road Northern Heights annexation. I believe we have some interesting news from the chief. Chief, do you want to go over that?
Yes, Commissioner Cooley and I met with Eric Quinn, our attorney, and went over the Boundary Review Board's letter that you all saw in the last board packet. Crafted a letter, crafted a, I guess you'd call it a protest to the Bellingham's annexation. That was sent in. We never paid the filing fee. There's a $200 filing fee for something like that, as well as an affidavit that we have to sign. Didn't do that because in the meantime, I received multiple communications from within the city of Bellingham, as well as from Bill Geyer, the annexation consultant that the developers are using, pointing out to me that both myself and Mr. Quinn missed something in our review of relevant documents, and that is that District 4 in 1997 signed an agreement with the city of Bellingham stating that they would not protest any annexations. So,
Yeah, so that was my reaction too. I saw some visual reactions there. Yeah.
I'm happy to share that document with you right now. It is called the, let's see.
Chief, did the other two commissioners get a copy of that letter that we sent? That you signed?
I don't believe I sent that to them. No, I did not. That was my error. I'm sorry.
No worries. Yeah, if we could just send them a copy, and I don't know if it's appropriate to include in our packet for this meeting as well. I didn't see it there, so it might be a good idea since it's official correspondence. We should probably put it in the packet.
Yeah, I will make sure that that gets in there, and then I will also send you this 1997 agreement, which is where, and what I have pulled up on your screen now is 11.1 is the paragraph that essentially our forefathers signed that say we can't do what we did. And the first sentence kind of sums it up, that we will not commence or maintain any action, appeal, or challenge to any kind of, in any form, challenging annexations by the city or the annexation policies of the city or the urban growth area of the city contained in the Whatcom County Comprehensive Plan. That kind of sums it up right there.
Yeah.
So who signed that on behalf of either the fire district or the board of commissioners back?
Previous commissioners. This was crafted in 1997, and
well, what are the names?
Let's go down there. Hang on, I looked at that, and I actually can't tell. Mr. Williams is one of them, and I don't know who. I'll have to look back in history and see who. It's a Dutch name, I can tell you that. It's DE somebody.
So not to jump in and throw you off track, Chief, but so obviously that avenue appears to be closed to us, but as the chief and I discussed, it doesn't necessarily mean we are powerless at all. So we just need to pursue other avenues to try to get our considerations and our concerns heard. And Chief, we talked about a way to do that.
Yes, in this 1997 agreement, it does have a provision for us to formally meet and confer with the city of Bellingham up to and including going to arbitration or mediation or arbitration over the question that we bring. So to me, the relevant question is still the 60% question.
Yeah.
That and Eric Quinn, our attorney, agrees wholeheartedly that that is where we are going to get the best bang for our buck. So he is going to review this document. He's going to put together a letter requesting formal negotiations with the city of Bellingham, referencing the 1997 agreement, so that we can solve the 60% question. In addition, in my speaking with Mr. Geyer, who was the gentleman that is consulting or working for the developers that are pursuing the annexation, turns out he was actually the city of Bellingham. He was the planner at the time. He was the head of the planning office when this 1997 agreement was crafted. And he has volunteered to sit down with me and talk about what was the intent of the document, what were the thoughts that went into that statement about 60%, and to work with the fire district on maybe where their vision was then and where our reality puts us now. And what I explained to him in really clear terms, politely, was that we're getting squeezed. If I'm really transparent, and since I'm on public record, sure, we can go ahead and the city of Bellingham will pay us revenue for 3 years as mitigation funds. But we still have to provide service to someone that lives off Y Road or Noon Road or Xander in the rural part of the county. So in 3 years, when that money's gone, when the mitigation funds are gone, the way that the 1% limitation works is the district can set its budget 1% higher than last year. So that means we won't really lose any money because we just pass a budget that allows us 1% more, or in our case, up to 4% more based on the way the levy paperwork documents are written. So we can recoup all that income, but who it hurts is the rural landowner, because they're going to see a market increase in their taxes for the exact same level of service. There's no increase. They're not getting anything out of that big increase in taxes. And we all watch the news, and if nothing else, we watch social media, and people are done. They're tired of it. And unfortunately, this annexation agreement, based on the 1990, referencing the 1997 agreement, the city of this isn't going to cost the city of Bellingham that much. It's going to cost them a little bit in lost revenue, but they're going to rely on the auto aid agreement, which comes from District 4. So there's some good questions, some hard questions, and we need to be fairly yoked in this, and right now we're not. So again, that 1997 agreement does have provisions for mediation and arbitration if we were to come to loggerheads with the city. I don't see that happening. I think we need to open negotiations formally and work towards a resolution of this so that it doesn't punish the rural landowner as the city continues to take what's left of our AV, which is those small suburban areas. And I'll say it, they have a demonstrated history of doing it. They've taken all of our commercial and now they're taking all the residential. So we have no recourse but to pursue this angle. But we have to do it the proper way. And I don't want to.
Go ahead.
We can force something through the boundary review board and be in violation of the agreement, but that just sets us off on a bad foot. So let's try it. Let's try the right way first, and then if we have to, we'll go, like I said, mediation or arbitration. So that is an update on the annexation. Still not entirely sure that the city's going to approve it. As a matter of fact, I believe that city staff is not recommending approval, but the electeds are the ones that are going to decide in the end. So we'll have to see what that is. But in the meantime, Mr. Quinn is going to review this document in its entirety, draft up the appropriate letter to get Bellingham to the table, and move forward from
And you're going to set up a meeting with Mr. Geyer, or is that?
And I'm going to meet with Mr. Geyer next week. Yes.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Comments or questions, gentlemen, on any of that?
Yeah, but they haven't fully formulated in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Bill Geyer being on the city staff. It's funny, I remembered him as maybe in the city attorney's office, but must have been planning. Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thought that has occurred to me is when it comes to spending money on the attorney to sort of figure out what really our rights and position is going to be, I guess I also kind of want to balance that with, you know, what's going to happen inevitably and make sure we're just spending those customer resources wisely, you know, to not just, I don't know what I'm trying to say, just, yeah, like sorry, I probably shouldn't have started because I don't have the question yet in my head, right?
No worries. Yeah, my thought is, yeah, with the spending money, additional money on the attorney, it seems to me like we do need to go ahead and move forward and address this. We need to get this 60% thing addressed, because regardless of whether the annexation goes through or not, you know, we need to, it's eventually we're going to, you know, that's probably going to happen. So we need to get that addressed.
Commissioner Land, I do want to just comment really quick. I do want you to know that was when Mr. Quinn and I spoke, he indicated that we could probably fight this 1997 agreement, and there's loopholes here and there's loopholes there. And I right, wrong, or indifferent, I said, no, we're not gonna. If there's already a vessel that would shorten the distance between us and Bellingham sitting down at the table and hashing out this 60% thing, that's the big piece that we need to sort out. We don't need to spend our money fighting, you know, sending appeals and doing all this stuff. I'm very cognizant. I just want you to know that I was super cognizant of how that we need to spend our resources extremely wisely, and not just start throwing everything against the wall and see if it sticks. That we need to come up with a smart, responsible plan before we move forward. But I do want him to review this entire 97 agreement for two reasons. One is, frankly, he already had it, and so he and I both missed this. So I want him to review it, and then I missed it too. So you know, that's on me. But we do need to. If he can just provide us an outline, the negotiations can be handled by us. We don't need him to come and negotiate for us.
Oh, okay. I see. Yep.
Chief,
That's not my vision for this, is to have him spend 100 hours negotiating this. And I need him to give me the key points, and then I'll sit down with the city and we'll negotiate it.
Yeah, I think you captured and paraphrased what I hadn't even said, which was the point I was trying to make. So I appreciate that.
I do too, Chief. I appreciate your comments, and I agree with you. This is probably not, we don't want to spend our resources on a protracted battle that we're not gonna probably come out on the right side of. But I do think we need to probably spend some resources to make sure we understand the 60%.
Right.
Yeah, and I concur with it. Now that I understand what Mark was getting at, I get it. Yeah, and that certainly good with me. You know, if we get some guidance from the attorney, and then, but once the negotiations start, we can handle those. So, okay. Well, it sounds like we're all in basic concurrence here with the direction we need to head. So, unless I'm missing something. So, yeah. Well, Chief, I guess you can let me know when we hear from the attorney, and once he's had a chance to put all that together, and perhaps meet again with him if we need to, or whatever, like we did last time.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be maybe even have him come to our next meeting, but we can talk about that. So, okay. Anything else on this issue of the annexation at this point?
Not for me, no.
Okay. I think that wraps it up for me. Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the Britton Loop Station 12 exterior project. To summarize real quick, and then I'll let the chief give you the specifics. The chief and I met about this. We've had one, I guess you would call it a bid. So the chief and I talked about that, and go ahead, chief, why don't you just do it, and I won't try to introduce it anymore since you've got all the information.
So we did go out and get one bid. I wanted to test the waters and see what it was going to come in at, see if we needed to go through a formal bid process. It appears based on the price that we got, it does not need to go through a formal bid process, which is $350,000. Bids are required for over $350K on a public works project. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the bid here.
And chief, just for information for the other commissioners, if you haven't discussed this with them, you and I talked about this project. We're going to take it a piece at a time, basically,
Yes.
and recommending, and this will, you'll see, you gentlemen, you'll see this in a second, but we're recommending doing the station building first, getting that one done, and then proceeding with the administration building. So go ahead, chief.
Yeah, so this project is going to best be done in phases. This is a bid from Loophole Contracting, who's done work for Fire District 21 in the past. They did a remodel for us at Station 72. They've done work at Station 61. They've done work at Station 62. And they've actually done work at Station 13 and Station 12, small work at Station 13 and Station 12 as well. So this is an estimate. What you see here is an estimate for residing, rewrapping, taping, painting, replacing the soffits, having the roof pressure washed and inspected for the fire station at Station 12. The total is $272,757.49. Could be some savings. Obviously, there'll have to be a provision for it going over. This document contains what he broke out in his bid is every single invoice he got from the subs. So building materials, the painting bid, the gutters, the roofing, the roofing work, all things. So that's what this contract contains, as well as this is the labor side of the contract, or the labor bid in the contract. So
would you send us a copy of those also, chief?
Yep.
Thank you.
Let me do that right now.
Not now. So what the chief, while he's doing what he's doing, what the chief and I talked about was just moving ahead with this particular contractor. Hang on just a second. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, chief, but we don't have to go out for bids on this due to the price tag and due to the fact that this particular contractor is a known quantity, that we can move forward with this if we choose to.
Correct. According to Washington State bid law and our and policy, we can go out and do this. This is done at prevailing wage. He's certified, he's insured, all the things. Prior to work being commenced, there'll be a statement of work done, and I'll make sure that that's in line with the other statements of work that he's done for us. He is, as I said, he's done public works for us before in District 21. He posts all relevant L&I documents, all relevant OSHA documents on site. He is, I trust him to do good work. So I went back and looked at a bid that Chief Ward got about 3 years ago, and it was, I showed Commissioner Cooley when we sat down, and it was about $10,000 more than this. And that was just for replacement of the siding. No real protection of the gutters, no painting, nothing like that. So this is a reasonable bid for this. You would get it completed during the dry months, and project will be over. So
essentially, we have two bids, quote unquote, not formal bids, but
right.
two bids on this project. One is 3 years old that we could update if we wanted to, but for all the reasons that you just mentioned, I'm comfortable with moving ahead and giving the chief authorization to proceed with this. But let's discuss.
Does this limit when we can work on the other building? Or is that
No, my thought was we would just do the other building next year.
next year?
So do it in phases instead of trying to get everything done at once. Just do one at a time. Have one mess at a time. Have one disruption at a time.
Yeah, unless, go ahead, Tim, sorry.
No, thanks for the clarification.
If we were gonna get a second bid, it would have been the bid that Chief Ward got that's now, did you say 3 years old?
It's 3 years old. Yeah, it's through Alpine Siding, and I'm happy to do that if you like.
Well, so here's where I'm at. I 100% trust your judgment in recommending this contractor, but there's just a little voice in my head, especially after just coming off an audit, even though we're not required to get a second one. I think it would feel better.
Okay.
Even if the current bid that we're looking at was a little bit higher than updating the other bid, we can still pick. And then my decision process would be, okay, well, if this other bid even is a little bit higher, they've done work for us before, they come highly recommended, yada, yada, yada. But I think I would just feel better if we had something to compare it to.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. We can get that done.
And the guy might say, no, you know what, I'm not interested in bidding that job again. Well, then we tried.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not trying to give Jenny hives, but would it possible for us to have possibly a special meeting to review those bids if I can get them done in a short manner of time, so I can give whoever gets it the okay to move forward, so we can get cracking in April or May. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you think that would be in a week or two?
I'm hoping, I'm gonna call them today and see if we can get them out there and get a bid here.
Yeah, and that should be pretty quick and easy, because in a special meeting, it's basically just, you're only talking about the one thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Great. I fully support that as well.
Okay.
That sounds like a reasonable thing to do. And yeah, it kind of covers that. Well, even though we're not required to get another bid, let's go ahead and see what else is out there. So.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Any other comments about that issue? So we'll plan on a special meeting once you get that information, right, Chief?
Yep.
Okay. That's it moving forward. Any other comments about that issue? Questions? Okay. Great. Well, then that's all that we have on unfinished business. No new business that I'm aware of. Anything else that we need to address today? There's nothing on the agenda. Okay. Yeah, the correspondence, we saw the one letter from the audit. It's actually the one that you all signed to the auditors. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get the the audit paperwork sent out to the rest of us as well, and including it in the packet would be good, I think.
Yeah, what you got, they had asked us, the reason you got 2 documents with your board packet was they had asked us that the preliminary report not be included in official documents since
Right.
it wasn't completely done. So yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And we will also we've requested the PowerPoint that they showed as well, so as part of the packet, the meeting packet. So
Great. Okay. Next item on the agenda is our next board meeting, which is April 14th. Looks good for me at this point. Anybody else? All right. I see a thumbs up. Anybody else have an issue? Let us know. No specific agenda items from me for the next meeting other than what we've been talking about. Anybody else have anything you want to put on the agenda? So yeah, Chief, I think we'll definitely talk about the annexation and this project, although we're going to have a special meeting on that. So, okay. So with that, please remember to go down the hill to sign documents. And other than that, anything else for the good of the order?
no, Commissioner Johnson, I understand you're not going to be back in town till what you texted me. That's great.
Yeah,
Commissioner Cooley, Commissioner Land, if you could text me when you get done signing, that would be awesome. Yep.
Will do.
Yep, will do.
All right.
So
Well, then I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
thank you. Bye.